Okay, Jay Martinez of Fight Hub TV, sponsored by StageFront VIP. Hey Vergil, we're just one day away from the fight. I know it's good to see him finally make weight. You know, your son Vergil Ortiz, 156. How was this process this time around? And he's been out of the ring for almost a year and a half. How was the process this time around when his training camp and making sure that the weight, everything went correctly this time?
Well, the process it's nothing secret on when somebody's been doing this for a long time. There's really not too much of a secret. On Vergil, it's not like it was the way really, it's just more of the health. It's kind of hard to explain. Sometimes randomly somebody will get sick and it just like snowballs. It happens. I've seen it happen. Unfortunately, it happened to my son, and with all this COVID stuff, you just never know. You just don't. But preparing him, it's pretty much the same. Just looking at him, like we always do, pretty much with him 24/7. Just making sure if I see anything lingering, like some sort of delays or in reaction or whatever. But trying to keep his spirits high, staying positive. Believe it or not, staying positive actually makes a big difference in how someone's body reacts also too, how they react and how it heals. But other than that, it was the same thing. We're at Roberts again, and we've always done pretty much the same thing, and it pretty much was the same thing.
We talked to him yesterday, and he said that they asked him, I know Marcos asked him, he said, did you ever feel like, you were not going to be able to fight again? He said, honestly, the second time, right before the fight that was going to take place in San Antonio, he said, like, he almost broke down and cried. He said, I thought that was going to be it. And I know you're saying, staying positive. During that time, what was the thoughts going through your mind when, the second time when it happened in September?
It's devastating, for us. For me, honestly, and I don't say it, and I don't really care what anybody thinks, but for me, I give two shits about boxing, and I mean it in the respect to the sport, because my son comes first. To see my son struggle the way he did, and I don't mean weight, I mean like health-wise, to still want to fight, I mean, this kid's dead game. Like he's trying and to where it doesn't even happen. Someone like him that's so competitive that, it's like pretty much not letting a bird fly. The bird is just like, he's flown his whole life, and all of a sudden he's not allowed to fly, and he don't know why. He hasn't done nothing wrong. Well, that's what happened with my son, and happening the second time, we didn't know if he was going to have to retire or not, and that's a scary feeling, because you got to understand, this is all this kid has done his entire life. Yes, he's smart. Yes, he goes to school, but it's not the same. This is his life. Like, he's passionate about this. He's not these other kids that, they're some of these kids are good and all and whatever, and they get away with it because the competition they have. And this kid lives boxing, and I don't mean like he studies videos and he watches this person. No, I mean, he eats right, he eats clean. He's always in tremendous shape. I mean, you see him. Yeah. He's always in great shape. He's always ripped. He's very clean. He
always
runs,
in the gym.
Oh, and he runs, and to the point that you have to, even I have to tell Vergil, that's too much running. You can't be running like that. It's just too much. And he just loves it. He loves running. He says when he runs, it makes him feel free. That he just feels that it clears his mind, and the fucker can run like 6-7 miles out of nowhere, and he doesn't even know it. And I had to tell him, you can't do that, son. So it's just somebody that just likes working hard, and to see him not be able to accomplish his dream, and then to start hearing all these bullshit rumors of some of these reporters are pulling out that don't know shit, and even some people that are in the business that I don't understand how fake news gets out when the only people that know is the people on my team. There's only like 4 of us. So it's frustrating to see him getting blamed for stuff that's not even his fault.
Yeah, and even talk about the competitive side. I think you mentioned to me, if I'm not mistaken, those 2 fights that he wasn't able to fight due to the health. He still wanted to. Like, I know he was he still wanted to.
He wasn't able to fight on the 2 fights that got canceled. It wasn't the first. So the first fight we're talking about, one before, like with let's say.
I think it was the first one, McKinney.
Okay, the last two.
Yeah.
It was due to the doctors. The doctors, they couldn't let him. And Vergil cried. He wanted to fight, and he wanted to fight, and they couldn't. They couldn't let him. I mean, you can't let somebody go out there and to the point where they could fucking die, maybe, or they can. You can't do that. You just can't do that. But like I said, this kid's dead game, and this kid was willing to do that, and he wanted, and he begged, and
I remember you telling me, you were like, no.
I said, your life is worth more than what these people think. I don't give a fuck. That's why I say I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. My son comes first. I don't care about it's my son. And my son's health is more important than being in the spotlight. For me, I don't care. It's just that simple.
And it's a father-son relationship. You know him more than anybody else. More than anybody else.
It's not even that. It's common sense. If that's like when you see like Robert or Freddie Roach, and they have a guy in the corner they're fighting, and the guy's getting the shit beat out of. They're gonna throw the towel because his health comes first. That's what it comes down to. It's his health. Except this time it's just happening in the ring. Ours happened before the ring, and that's what it is. But I mean, I always say this, and I tell everybody, for me, when they ask me for advice, I always tell them, put your kids first, man. Don't put your kids first. Don't do something for somebody else that won't do something for you. Put your kids first.
I like what Vergil said yesterday. He said all the people that were questioning me, or those fights that I was pulling out, like he was saying, I said, why would I be throwing thousands of dollars and want to pull out a fight? It doesn't make sense.
I'll clear
right?
that one out. It wasn't even thousands of dollars.
Money.
$100,000 of dollars. So I'm not gonna sit here and spend over $100,000 in training camp just so he can not fight. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money going out and no money coming in. And here's another thing, like so we don't talk. We don't sit there and say, like some of these fighters were, this guy did this. We don't ever say, whenever you hear a lot of rumors, it's because this team's not saying nothing. It's people putting out rumors. But I'll tell you this, like, the first fight, the Vergil and what's his name was supposed to fight in November. Well, what happened there? Vergil's been training. Well, December. Well, what happened there? January. Okay, well, what happened there? In February. Well, what happened there? So Vergil has been training this whole time. It's not his fault. It's not our fault. We're just training where we're supposed to be training. For me, it's not on this side that why it didn't go when it was supposed to go. That's just the truth. I don't have I'll put that on my son's life. That's the truth.
And I can vouch for you.
No,
and
I'm
other
just saying.
things. Yeah.
So people see. I'll put it on my son's side. It has not. It wasn't on our side. Vergil was ready to go. And I'm gonna tell you something. Vergil was hurting a lot of people on the spine. He was determined. That's the problem. Is you get a kid that's so determined like that, he's ready to go, and you redline him this long. They know what they're doing. Those people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'll give you one more example, so you guys can understand what I mean by that. Remember when Timothy Bradley fought Manny Pacquiao? Well, if you go back and listen to the old videos, Timothy Bradley, he trained. And he trained to the point that it might have been even too much where he was over to because he wanted to win. Well, can you imagine doing that for so long? That's bad for your body. But, like Vergil said before, if he's not ready, it's his fault. And if it's he'd rather, I guess, be more than ready than not be ready.
Ideally, and we can end this. Ideally, he wants to fight 30 or 40 times a year. Usually, what he's always done. If everything goes as planned, can you see it in the horizon? Like maybe the end of this year, starting next year, that fight against Charlo for the championship, 154, and as well, even if Tim Tszyu still has that belt, could you potentially see that by the end of this year or possibly early next year?
Look, I'm always realistic about who Vergil can fight, who he can't fight. I don't know if it's realistic due to politics or how things run with Charlo, and because that other side, and I just say the other side. I'm not picking on anybody, but the pattern shows that they can hold those belts for a long time and not fight anybody. And one thing we've learned already soon is we're not waiting for no belts. You wait for belts, this is what happens. My son needs to take care of himself. Whatever fight's available out there, that's a big fight, bring him. But he's not gonna sit here and idle for anybody no more because it gets you nowhere. Look, you do think favors for someone waiting for them, and it gets you burned. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So take care of yourself and do your own thing and That's it.
In this conversation, this
But I would
interview,
like the Tim fight though, just so you know. No, that's a good fight.
a lot of people have
were-
chose that fight over Charlo. People are like, the Tim Zoo versus Vergil, that's going to be a banger. People want to see that
That's a
one.
man's fight. I always say there's different kinds of fights. That is a man's fight because they're both gonna fight.
Yeah.
That's a man's fight.
People,
So I like that fight.
even,
I would like that fight next if it all goes well with us.
when when making this comeback, the video we posted of him, training when he was in the speed bag, people were like, Tim Zoo. Everybody was like more interested in that fight.
Yeah, that's a man's fight. That's why.
To finish this off, I just want to tell you personally, I'm glad that this is finally here. I know a lot of stuff you have done in the background that people don't see, so I know this is a huge accomplishment, another accomplishment for yourself to be here. So I'm excited to see y'all, and honestly, y'all deserve everything that's coming for y'all from now on for his career. So and I applaud you for that. But thank you anyways, Vergil.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe for more videos of your favorite fighters over here on Fight Up TV, and give us a follow online as well at Fight Up TV on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate it, guys.